So, today we are going to talk about properties in astrology. That is, if you are owning properties or if you are planning to buy a property and you want to know what sort of an experience that you'll be getting after owning that particular property from your Lagna chart or from your D4 chart in astrology in detail, then this is the right video for you guys, because in this video I'm going to talk in detail, like in an expansive manner, about property, which particular house is controlling property, and then we are going to go into the divisional chart, that is the D4 chart, Chaturtamsa chart. And in the Chaturtamsa chart, we are going to go in detail about the first house, the fourth house, and the fourth lord of the Chaturtamsa chart, how we are going to look at it. And then we are going to go into the significator of property, that is Mars, how to see the position and condition of Mars in astrology from your horoscope. And based on these details, we can get a complete picture about the experience that you're going to get in owning, buying, selling property. All right. So this is going to be a very detailed video and you have to stay tuned. All right. And if you want to know about the secrets of properties in astrology from the perspective of your horoscope, then first you have to subscribe to Purabs Universe, guys, because only if you subscribe to Purabs Universe, you will get access to such different content. And after watching this video in its entirety, if you have liked this video, please hit the like button. If you have disliked this video, please hit the dislike button, doesn't matter. But show me your genuine reaction. So hey guys, what's up? I hope you guys are doing great. And I welcome you back to Purabs University. So, if you look at this board, I have very clearly segmented it out. Lagna chart, D4, that is the Chaturtamsa chart, and then but if you have a fourth house Saturn, till the age of 35, that is till the age of your maturity, Saturn's maturity, you are Saturn. Okay, so at the age of 35 your Saturn becomes mature and you become mature, so all the negatives of the Saturn comes down. All right, so what happens is Saturn fourth house in your initial life till the age of 35, you have to work for creating a home, renovating your ancestral home, or sort of collecting money in bits and pieces to construct a house. So your house, your property, your vehicle, it becomes your need. Okay, and you are spending considerable amount of hard work and effort in developing a basic property. Okay, now there are certain people, right, who are born with multiple assets, multiple properties. Okay, but Saturn fourth house means till 35 you are stuck there. Okay, Rahu fourth house means Rahu also creates delays, Rahu also creates restriction and fear, but the difference in approach when there is a Saturn fourth house and a Rahu fourth house is that in the case of Saturn fourth house, you are literally suffering and you're literally going out and trying to sustain. It's like surviving in a dark age. Okay, but Rahu fourth house means here you're becoming a little bit tricky, a little bit conniving. All right, you're trying to steal property from others, you're trying to eye your life partner's property, or you're trying to look for your mother's property. Okay, and Rahu wants things in shortcut. Okay, he doesn't want to do hard work like how Saturn does, right, where Saturn will save money little by little, and then he will eventually give you that property or that home or that vehicle that you're planning for since your childhood. Okay, but in the case of Rahu, you'll always keep running behind the illusion of property, that okay, this person's property, how can I take it? I have a property, how do I do some illegal construction and get more money from it? All right, so all sorts of trickster oriented things and all sorts of cheating plot oriented schemes connected to property comes when you have a Rahu in the fourth house. But the problem is Rahu doesn't give you that happiness, or Rahu doesn't give you that fulfillment of desires when it comes to property till the age of 42. Once he matures at the age of 42 for you, then the fourth house becomes a little bit favorable, and then you will be able to deal in real estate, construction, property buying and selling, property scamming also. Certain people with Rahu fourth house, let's say in Virgo or let's say in Aquarius, they can get into property scamming also. All right. So Rahu fourth house, Saturn fourth house, hard work in the case of Saturn, and living in illusion, hallucinating that I'm going to get this property, that property through this means, through unfair means. Rahu fourth house. So till 35 in the case of Saturn, till 42 in the case of Rahu, you are not able to experience or enjoy the fourth house, the property matters. Okay. In the case of Ketu, what will happen is it will be like the reverse. You can have multiple properties when you are born in whichever family you are. You can also create and own your own properties. All right, but slowly you will get separated from these properties. Okay, what's going to happen is you will have land in some good area, you will have property, building, vehicles, etc., but slowly you will see that it is deteriorating. Let's say you had 100 acres when you were 20 years old, then when you were 40 years old, you would have sold partial if you have a Saturn or a Rahu aspecting your 4th house, okay, then also you will have similar effects, not to the intensity of directly having a Saturn placed in your 4th house or a Rahu placed in your 4th house, but aspects will also delay if there is no other benefic placed in your 4th house to protect you from that malefic Rahu or Saturn's aspect, or if any other benefic is also not aspecting your 4th house along with this Saturn and Rahu. Okay, that is, let's say Venus is in your 10th house, Saturn is in your 7th house, Saturn is aspecting your 4th house with its 10th aspect, Venus is aspecting your 4th house with its 7th aspect. So one benefic planet is aspecting and trying to give you that comfort, a malefic is trying to delay or deny that comfort, and eventually you will be able to experience some good things and some bad things concerned with the 4th house. Okay. The next thing is that you have to see, as I said, the 4th house planet is the tenant, right, and the 4th lord, he is the owner of that particular house, right. So you have to see the position of the 4th house lord. Then Jupiter will again rule your 4th house Sagittarius, and if Jupiter is aspect by or conjunct with Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, then also you will have delays in properties or you will have problems connected to property. Okay, so this is check if the lord of the 4th is in the 6th, 8th and 12th. Now if the lord of the 4th house is going to Dusthana, okay, 6th house, 8th house and 12th house of your horoscope, and they are conjunct with Rahu and they are conjunct with Saturn or Ketu, then it becomes a little bit more difficult, okay, because the Lord will show you the end experience, okay, and if it is under the influence of malefics, it becomes a problem. If you have a debilitated sun also in your 4th house, then also you will have some government issues in your property. That is, the government is trying to take away your property, or the government is launching some electricity wiring scheme and they are going over your property, and because of that the value, the market value of the property is depreciating, or a highway is going and it is taking a substantial amount of portion of your property and that frontage is going away. If you are having a Saturn in the 1st house of the D4 chart, or if you are having, let's say, a Rahu or a Ketu or a debilitated Mars in the 1st house of your D4 chart, that is the Lagna of the D4 chart, then the overall experience that you're going to get in the matters of property, in the matters of vehicles and assets, right, that is getting corrupted, because malefics, they corrupt and you are doing an agreement with the promoter and you are developing a joint property and the promoter is cheating you, or let's say you are trying hard to buy a home or a property or a piece of land or a vehicle and you are not able to do it, or you have invested a lot of money in your property and you want to sell it for a profit, and then all the conditions and the principles that I've mentioned in the Lagna chart, that is Saturn in the 4th house of your Chaturtamsa will also create similar problems like Saturn in the 4th house of your Lagna chart. Rahu in the 4th house of your Chaturtamsa will also create problems like Rahu in the 4th house of your Lagna chart, and vice versa Ketu. Okay. So if the 4th house of the Chaturtamsa chart is getting corrupted by the placements of malefics, then also you will face problems and delay and issues in property related matters. Or if the 4th house of your Chaturtamsa is being aspected by malefics, these 3-4, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Mars, alright, then also you're going to have problems in property related matters. And if the Lord of the 4th house of your D4 chart, that is your Chaturtamsa chart, is getting placed in Dusthana of the Chaturtamsa, that is 6, 8, 12 of the Chaturtamsa, or it is getting placed in Dusthana of the Lagna, that is, let's say that Mars is ruling your 4th house, Aries sign is falling in your 4th house. If this Mars is placed in the 6th house or the 8th, Lagna chart, everything seems to be fine, yet you're facing problems in property related matters, go to the D4 chart. You have gone to the D4 chart also. In the D4 chart also things are fine only. That is, where planets are placed in the 4th house, the 4th lord is also not in connection with aspects or with malefics or conjunct or aspect by malefics. Okay. Then why are you facing problems in property related matters? Right. Because in Kalpurush, Mars, the ruler of the 1st house of the Kalpurush, comes and becomes debilitated in the 4th house Cancer. Okay. Mars is the connection with our ancestors. Okay. Mars is the blood. Similarly, Mars is the ancestral curses or the blessings that we are getting. Right. It's in our DNA. Right. So if your ancestors have not done good karma in connection with property related matters, land related matters, then it will reflect in your horoscope as a weak Mars or a debilitated Mars or an afflicted Mars. Okay. So even though your D1 chart 4th house and 4th lord is fine, your D4 chart 4th I have to mention everything in one video, right? So the next part is that some people don't have any of these and then also they face property issues at times. Okay. That happens because of transit. Okay. Let's say you are any ascendant. Let's say you're a Leo ascendant. Okay. So for a Leo ascendant, Your 4th house is ruled by Scorpio, which is Mars. Okay, let's say Saturn is transiting through Scorpio. That preserve or help handicapped people. All right. If Rahu is the problem creator, okay, then what you have to do is you can either do some yagya or puja, all right, connected to Kal Bhairav, connected to goddess Durga, because these entities can control Rahu or Lord Shiva. Okay. Or if Rahu is creating a problem, then here you have to do or you have to use some means which are not approved, but you have to use them to get your property work done. Okay. Now the wise people will understand what I'm trying to talk about. Okay. Similarly, if you have a Ketu, now for Ketu, if you're not connecting spirituality with your 4th house, then eventually you are going to lose your property. Okay. So if you have hundreds of acres of land or several buildings, create a temple or create a stray animal welfare center or rescue center, or create a area where you are doing some service to people who are like gypsy, who don't have any home or shelter, and they are like stray. All right, so stray animal and stray people, if you bring them